Welcome to the Answers for Elders radio show. Meet the trusted experts who will give you straight answers and will help guide you on the path of later life care. Now, here's your host, founder, caregiver, and CEO, Suzanne Newman.
And welcome back, everyone, to Answers for Elders Radio Network. And we are here with Paula Sikes, who is the Director of Resident Engagement for Cogir USA Communities. That's CogirUSA.com. Paula, welcome back to the show. I want to pick up where we talked about family engagement. Why is it important, I guess the question is, for families to be engaged in the process with their loved ones?
Well, one of the things that I was mentioning before we went on to break was that we encourage our lifestyle directors to add an activity for family members one time per month.
I love that.
I think the reason why we have to put it on the calendar is because life does happen and we are so busy. Just like you had shared earlier, we get so busy, we get so involved in our daily lives. We're still working as family members. We have our kids and we're involved with our children. And then next thing you know, 3-4 months went by and you never visited your relative that lives in a community. So when we have those specific family nights or family activities, we find that family members actually are intentional and they block that time out of their calendar.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why we want to make sure that we're intentional about that. And just as my age, my family, my parents are elderly, they're in their mid-80s. I have to be intentional to go make that visit to see my loved one. Currently, my parents are living with my sister, and just kind of my sister is struggling with that social wellness. But I kind of give her my ideas and my expertise and my advice of just taking mom and dad out, even if it's just outside in the backyard to get some vitamin D and some sunlight, 10 minutes out of the day. There's so many things that we can do, even in our own homes with our loved ones, that can really encourage that wellness, all around wellness.
What you're saying is so true, because I think one of the things I talk to family caregivers probably several times a week. Whether I get an email or whatever, probably one of the most common things that I get is, I don't have a life anymore. I'm too burned out. I'm too stressed. I don't know what to do. I just got home. I just got a letter from a family caregiver today that she had to put her mom in a rehab center yesterday because she broke her hip. And here she is. She's like, now I have to find a community for her. And I don't even know how to begin. And, when you look at the load of a family caregiver and how do they make the right choices, they look to people like you and me. How can I do this? And I remember even when my mom was in senior living, who was my support network as her daughter? You guys. I would go times I don't know what to do. And I had, times where I would correct my mom because she had dementia and mom, that isn't way. And the nurse took me aside and said, Suzanne, the truth at this point in her life is pretty much irrelevant. Just let her be. We know how she is. You don't have to correct. You don't have to do that. And it was like, wow. It freed me. It made me feel like, I don't have to carry all this burden anymore on my shoulders. And I think you guys, people that are in this world, you don't get the credit for what you do for families and pulling that load off and giving them the freedom to be socially well in their world. Because I think it's important that a family caregiver should not give up their life. This is their life too, and their wellness. And you cannot give to someone from an empty vessel. I don't care who you are. And so many spouses, I see spouses of their loved ones that have Alzheimer's and dementia or chronic health. It's overwhelming.
Absolutely. And not only that, but you see that the health of the caregiver, the care partner, the loved one start to decline because of all the effort that they're putting into this person. But your staff member that you were talking about earlier that worked at your mother's community was absolutely right. It doesn't have to be right or wrong.
No.
We live in their worlds.
Yeah. And the thing is I think families put so much pressure on themselves. I know for me, I had to do everything perfect. I had to make sure that everything was accurate and I didn't want to mess up. So if my mom would say something that wasn't accurate, it's like I felt this, no, it's not like that because I had to be right. And I learned to relax. I
Yes.
learned
Yeah.
to let go and let people like you do what you do. You know, when I talk to people all the time about, well, I'm worried about putting my mom in a senior living community. And I say, you know what? Both your mom's life and your life is going to improve. It's an
absolutely.
amazing thing to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We see that a lot. And that's one of the things that we train our lifestyle directors on.
We're going to be right back right after this. Answers for Elders thanks you for watching the Vitality Revolution. Discover a blueprint to find a whole new gear in life, new awareness, and greater potential. Subscribe and be a part of our community. Answers for Elders is the North Star of navigating senior care, featuring content to help later life go a lot easier.